Alrighty, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Guys, we got some pretty exciting stuff going on tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have CPI data coming out. We are likely going to be making a move in the pre-market. It's probably going to be a gap up or a gap down. We are very unlikely going to trade flat. I'm going to point out what I see on these charts in this video going into that event. But at the end of the day, we are going to have to wait to see which way that wants to bring us. Now, we knew to be bullish on this pullback over here. We were calling for the pullback in advance, specifically because VIX was sitting down here on the daily RSI. And as you see, we bounced exactly from that 34 spot and are now back above the daily 9 EMA over here. That is the exponential moving average. I do just want to point out the last two times that price got above that in a similar manner. All right, you see that right there. You had a little spiky upwards falling, over the next couple trading sessions over there. And then you have the same exact thing going on over here over the few falling trading sessions, all right? So we have CPI going on tomorrow. It is the perfect catalyst for this thing to continue rising, to see volatility continue to spike. It's either going to sell back down to the low starting tomorrow, or we're going to spike. And I'm just going to say I am leaning towards, us continuing this pullback off of, a hot CPI print tomorrow. It doesn't even have to be hot, but, I'm just going to say the charts do suggest across the board that we are probably going to be continuing this pullback. Okay. And the first, thing I want to point out is how VIX did end up closing today. You see how you did not get a close. Okay. Like, I'm talking like a close and then you came back down to retest. Okay. You got to close above it here, but then, you failed on the retest the next day here and here. Well, over here, you didn't fail on the retest. Over here, as you see, price quickly reclaimed that right there. You closed, right around it. And as you see, we kind of have that same exact look going on here. So, I am definitely going to be leaning to the downside. And then you come over here to SPY and, you kind of closed out near the low today. The only thing I will point out over here coming into tomorrow is we do have the 15-minute RSI sitting in oversold territory. So, that's the only thing that really suggests that, we could be seeing a bounce right there. We definitely have a clear trend line to be paying attention to. It's going to be right there. All right. But, on the daily time frame, we talked about reversion to the mean. Guys, we were at least looking for these daily 9 EMA tests. We now have those daily 9 EMA tests. And, chances are you're not going much lower than this, but I would appreciate going a little lower. Come down a little bit lower, down to 617. All right. That is about 0.5% down from current price. We have our retest of the most recent structure that we broke out from. Okay. So, you were you just like over here, you went floating into, skyrocketing into, thin air over here. And now you're just floating on there and you came back to test the ground. That's how I look at these things. All right. So if you come back into 617, expect buyers around there. On top of that, right below, we'll have the 21 EMA. As you see, that is what supported price over here. And over here, you also end up getting a bounce before you end up going lower. So, I'm definitely leaning towards upside. I'm not saying necessarily we just spike off a CPI or anything like that. I don't think we have charts suggesting we're just going to get bought up right now. But at the end of the day, this is just going to be creating a further discount for us. This is going to be creating, just a buying opportunity. We've been talking about this since, this day over here, how, VIX was looking like this. VIX was, just chilling down here right around the same spot where over the last 20 years, you kept getting these bounces. And, normally, guys, we don't talk about this too much because VIX gets its reactions from down here. Well, it's kind of danced around here for a while now. We do have the bullish divergence sit on the RSI down there. I wouldn't be surprised if volatility spikes up somewhere and we get a bigger discount on these names. Okay, so let's just go over the levels we're going to be paying attention to SPY over here. But I will point out we're probably going to be getting a decent gap up or gap down here, which means, some of these levels, they might just get, gapped up above, or, we're just going to gap down under here. Like if we get a hot CPI, chances are you're going to open under 617. Then we'll see what happens from there. Okay. Support 602.47, 617, 597.28. Underneath there, you're going to have the 0.618 fib from this whole most recent rally here at 5 593.70. There you go. 593.70. Okay, on the upside, what are we paying attention to, guys? We got resistance in over here. You were holding on for dear life, and as you see, you started to break down under there. 604.32, 604.95, 605.80, 606.30, 607.02, and then above there, I think you're probably just going to be heading up to an all-time high. Now, I will point out, CPI really can just reverse this thing real quick on us. From current price, guys, gapping up above today's high is only a 0.5%. Okay, so if you see a 0.5% gap up, we're set up to continue, along this uptrend here. We're set up to just go. Okay, you get a 0.5% gap up tomorrow, we're probably going to new all-time highs. Maybe even that day. It's not too far away there. All right, and then so we're going to look at QQ now, and I will point out, first things first, 15-minute RSI, you're sitting in the same spot, and I will point out, you got the bullish divergence going on here. So that is, something to note right off the support over there at 519.60, but you could also see on the daily time frame, guys, this is reversion to the mean. We were talking about this, and, I talked about when we were on this day, it would be picture perfect that we start pulling back from here, because you're going to get, a bunch of people calling for a top. You're going to get, the market saying, oh, okay, hey, we're all scared. People are going to exit positions. Shorts are, going to hop on. I'm not going to say shorts really drive the price or anything like that. In reality, it's buyers and sellers. That's what's driving the price, okay? And we have clear as day bullish structure. But picture perfect, you get a lot of people closing out positions. Fear would re-enter the market. Volatility would spike. The volatility, that's really all I wanted to see spike. What's going on with VIX right here, that is all I wanted to see. We had over a 10% day yesterday. I want VIX to spike just like this or just like this. So then we have room for a larger rally, okay? Just look between October 8th and, October 18th. What happened on SPY, guys? All right. October 8th. Somewhere over there. You see that next leg up. You see how, you had really slow price action. Okay. Slow. Everything's slow. Okay. You're really not good. You're not doing much when volatility is just low, guys. And then what happens? You see volatility end up spiking. It allows you to have room to run. Okay. So that's really why I want to see the VIX spike. I want to see volatility come back into the market. When VIX is low, do not expect a lot of price action. Just don't expect volatile moves. Not going to happen. Okay. But come back over to here to QQ. This is just reversion to the mean. If you do not get bought up right here, you're probably going to get bought up around 515.58. And worst case scenario, we're going to draw the golden pockets in down here, and it's going to be right down at the bottom of this trend line. You're going to have a lot of people calling for, oh, the thing's finally going to be topping, it's going to be breaking down. But in reality, we have the golden pocket there. We have the 21 EMA there on the daily time frame. We have trendline support that has been holding for a very long time now. Okay, we watched it on this day. We watched it on these two tests, and we watched it again here. Okay, and what happened, guys? What happened? It kept holding. So chances are, if we come down here, you're probably going to get a bounce there, and at least do something like that. Okay, and then maybe you retest the 9 right here, and maybe you reject it, and then maybe you die. I don't know what's going to happen over here, okay? But, what I do know is we were bullish before the pullback happened. We have a lot of, setups here that suggest, any pullback is about to be eaten, okay? So let's finish up with the cues here. Support, 519.60, 517.15, 515.58. Get under there, guys. We're going to be watching the golden pocket down here at 511. That is it, okay? But again, you have that bullish divergence being carved out over here on the 15-minute RSI. So let's talk about some support. Clear as day, you had this head and shoulders kind of structure to you, and then you were, looking like you were going to start breaking down over there. That's what I was calling for. I was saying, oh, it looks like it's about to break down. It did end up breaking down, coming right down to the next support, and that's where you found buyers, okay? And then you see a bullish engulfing candlestick with a, nice lower wick there off of increasing volume. You're like, oh, it's probably going to start, bouncing into the close. Okay. So you did that. Resistance now going to be 521.42, 522.35, 524.04, 525.38, and 526.72. And keep in mind, guys, we're still not far off of all-time highs. We are about 1% away. We know we can see 1 to 2% days pretty easily over here. You got a 1.2% day over here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing, pop up to new all-time highs relatively soon. Okay. You know, whether that happens tomorrow, whether that happens like this, okay, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm honestly at this point hoping that we get a little more of a pullback here. I hope CPI is a nothing burger. I hope it comes in flat. Let the market do what it wants, which I think, you know, it's going to come a little further down and then rally. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to be positioning for upside. And I, you know, no financial advice on this channel, but I think anybody who does so is going to have a good time going into the end of the year, guys. Santa Claus rally, we're talking about the potential for it. And this is exactly the ideal situation we talked about, all right? You want to see that pullback so volatility can rise. So then we actually have room to run for a Santa Claus rally. Without it, probably we're just going to keep, you know, grinding higher, which puts people on edge there. You know, it's not really, you know, safe. But let's look at it this way, okay? You're going to keep just throwing the darts to the dartboard. You're not getting that reversion to the mean. At some point, it's going to revert back to the mean, and you got to wait for those things, guys. Patience in the market. Now we're at that point where we don't have to, like, yes, be patient, okay? But at the same time, we were being patient for this pullback. This is like how I see it. This is the time to be buying, okay? You get down here, like that is a clear as day buying opportunity. That's what we're looking for, okay? So that's QQ. Let's come over to IWM, guys. Again, reversion to the mean. You're kind of still just consolidating in this wedge-like manner over here. You're now at the 21 EMA. That's where price, you know, was supported over here. Chances are you're going to be bouncing. It's kind of at a perfect spot here to go either direction. I would favor VIX again spiking some more. So that means IWM is going to be coming down. So if it loses 235.57 tomorrow, 230.82 is really your next support. You don't really have anything in between there and there. You really want to put on a level right there. It's going to be 230.275. So lose 235.57. You're watching 230.275 and then 230.82. Okay, on the upside, you have 237.93, 239.24, and 241.38. Get above 241.38. I think you probably start moving back up to the highs. All right, DIA, again, reverting to the mean. We're not really going to say much about this guy, but, you know, it's kind of impulsive, you know, explosion up, pull back in you know, a controlled manner, just like impulsive move up, controlled manner, impulsive move up, controlled manner. You know, this thing could just kind of keep doing its same thing. And that's kind of how I'm seeing the whole market, guys. All right, so let's go over the major components real quick, guys. Just a reminder, big breakout last week after, you know, what was this? In the same exact range here. We're sitting there for 2 to 3 months. We're just going to say 2 months you were consolidating here. You broke out from that consolidation last week. This reminds me of this. Okay, it literally reminds me of this candlestick right here. After you broke up out of, you know, of this consolidation was quite a bit. Okay, you know, 2/3 of the year there, you know, that's 7 to 8 months. Then you broke out. Well, after you broke out, you consolidated for a week. I think that's exactly what this is. We're either going to continue higher this week or we're just going to consolidate, and that's perfectly fine. Next week, you're probably going to continue higher, guys. I think we are going to have that Santa Claus rally. And, you know, it's a question of, does it resume right now or start up right now, I should say? Or is it going to, you know, consolidate and then happen next week? That's really what I'm looking for here, okay? But, you know, I think it's very attainable to come back up here to the high, 629.79, and then you have 630, the psychological level. It's pretty much already been hit. But then above there, we're watching 650, okay? And if you pull back into 594.80 to 602.95, I see that as a major buying opportunity. I would love that. Okay. But, you know, you're kind of doing that grind thing we talked about because the daily RSI got into overbought territory over here. All right. It's not acting exactly how I thought it would. But, you know, at the end of the day, price is just doing that grind thing after the impulse to move up. And, you know, if it does pull back into this area, you have the daily 9 here. Okay. Daily 9 test, daily 9 test. Like, these are buying opportunities. Pair that with, you know, solid structure. You didn't want to, there was so much demand down here that you didn't want to test it. Well, if you do test it, expect the demand to fall back into this thing and expect it to have a quick reaction back to new highs, honestly. I'm talking 602.95 all the way up to 630 within, you know, 1 to 2 trading sessions. It can happen. Tesla, guys, all right, this is the one with strength. You did put in that upper wick and you closed right underneath 402.67. So what I was saying today, you know, I was saying you're either going to get a daily close above 402.67 and start moving up to all-time highs and then higher over the coming trading sessions, or you're going to get another nice upper wick. You got the other upper wick. So, you know, doors open to both scenarios here. We're going to have to just see, okay? Sometimes you do just have to sit on your hands and wait. Pullback, obviously buying opportunity, guys. There's no denying it. You're consolidating for 3+ weeks here. Breakout, you know, number 1. Right here, 1 week of breakout. You think you're going to get sucked back into it, you're probably going to be wrong. Goog, this was the start of the show. Congrats if you guys made money. This is the one I was saying, yeah, I was liking this guy for, you know, a similar move over here to Microsoft. Okay, you just broke out of that over there, and you had a pretty similar setup there where you just looked like you wanted to test the high over here. And guys, once you got above 180.17, we'll just come over the daily time frame. Once you got above here, you know what's significant about that, guys? 0.786 fib. Once you got up there, you know you were likely going to revisit 183.79. Get up there, you probably start your move up to all-time highs. Look at that volume on the day, guys. This thing wants to move. Okay, so you know it could take some time. I'll just point out, you know, most of these gap ups that Goog has, you end up consolidating or pulling back a few days after. Gap up, consolidated, and then you move back up. Okay, gap up, consolidated, then you move back up. This one you just kind of moved and then you fell off a cliff. But you know, that's what I noticed today when I looked in pre-market. So I just decided to cut everything off the open. Did I miss a lot? Yeah. Yeah, I was tight to see these things run to like 900 beans, and I cut at 720. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to, you know, turn down a 60-70% gain on February contracts right overnight. When in reality, I didn't know that this thing was going to move, you know, $10 the next day. I had absolutely no idea. So you see a $7, $8 gap up, you take advantage of that bad boy. You know, at the beginning of the day, it was looking like I was going to be getting my way. I was like, oh my God, look at that. It's beautiful. I'm going to get my, you know, next little buying opportunity off this consolidation. But, you know, that was the thought process behind Google over here, guys. I do think it's going to start moving up to all-time highs, though, okay? So you got 190.34 and then 193.31. But, guys, does this look like a bearish chart to you? I'll answer the question. No. No, it does not. There you go. You based off of previous all-time high, okay? You legit broken retest, just like Amazon, off of the previous all-time high. Speaking of Mr. Amazon, let's go and check out that chart right now. You based, okay, off of previous all-time high. You could saw it right, you know, above it / on it, and then you accelerated. It is looking like it wants to continue. There's no denying it. You now have, you know, this look here on the daily chart. You see that arrow, guys? I drew that, you know, earlier before today's open. I think that is how this thing is going to go. I don't think it is just going to magically, you know, bounce back up. I could be wrong, but it does look like it's going to be pulling it back a little bit. I don't think it tests 250.90. I think you're going to revert back to the mean over here, daily 9 action, or maybe right above it. Maybe you retest 220, and then you continue up. All right, but definitely bullish on that. Microsoft, need I say it, guys? Need I say it? Get above 451. Expect to move up to 457.26 in the short term, and then 468.35 over the coming 1 to 2 weeks. You know, I'm looking for further upside over here on this name. It could pull back just like, you know, Amazon over there. You got the nice upper wick. You got that, you know, red candle starting to be put in there. I would not be surprised if you pull back here to 438.50. You know, if anybody was entering down here with me, didn't really matter what contracts. You could have Jan contract, could have December 20 contracts. You made a bag, could have had Feb contracts. You know, you were up 50 to 100% on any of those, and you could have been up as much as 200 to 300%. Depending what expiration you chose. Yeah, don't be a greedy pig. I'll give you a reminder. Okay, this is your friendly reminder from your boy Henry over here. Don't be a greedy pig in this market. You can consistently pull 50 to 100% gains out, but you know, we don't typically get. Let's just look at it this way. Do not expect 100% on every single thing. Just don't. Just realize, you know, this is your hard-earned money that you're compounding here. And do not be a greedy bastard. Just don't do it. Don't be a greedy pig. Don't do it. It's no fun. And there's a way to have, you know, a lot of fun in this market. You're going to have a great time. But you have to not be a greedy pig. You have to learn to just move on to the next. Or if you want to focus on the same name, you got to learn to sit on your hands. Microsoft is a perfect example over here. Okay, so take some off right here. You could lock in half. And, you know, we know it's probably going to, you know, start pushing up to all-time highs. But is it going to pull back before that? Are you going to be pissed if, you know, you get back, you know, you're up 100% and it comes down to only being up like 50%? You're probably going to be pissed off. Okay. And maybe you sell down here when in reality, you could have sold somewhere over here and bought back right up here. And then you ride up for the next leg. I'm liking Microsoft on the pullback. Apple's another one that, you know, we're liking it on the pullback, but it's probably not going to pull back. It doesn't care about the market right now. And if it does, it's a clear as day buying opportunity. This move, I'm not going to say it just started at this point because you're kind of, you know, accelerating here. You're up already $11, okay, from here to here. That was, 17 bucks. But, I expect this thing to run, up to here, 255. That was my target over here within like, 1 to 2 weeks coming into this week. That was kind of, the goal over here. I do think this thing is going to hit 255. I think 260 is also on the table. I like Apple. All right, so these major components, they're looking nice. Chips, they're not looking nice, okay? Chips are looking pretty hairy over here. You're right here at the 0.786 fib on SMH. CPI, it's going to be your make or break, okay? I'm not going to say this weekly chart turned out to be, so pretty. You're kind of just consolidating around the short-term moving averages on the weekly time frame. It's not looking the best, okay? But, CPI, it's either going to break you down and you're going to finally actually visit the 0.618 fib over here at 232, or you're going to bounce right there from the perfect spot and start retesting up here, 246 to 248-ish, your short-term moving averages. It's one or the other, okay? So you just got to be patient and wait. Nvidia does not look the best over here. So, if I had to guess, this thing's going to be coming down here, maybe test 131.26, and maybe even the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement from this whole leg up over here, which is going to be at 129.50. That is a buy if we see it. All right, same thing we talked about on VIX. All right, if you see the daily RSI start getting, we'll just call it right here. That's where you want to start loading up. Okay, that's really where you want to start loading up. Let's just look at over here. Where were you when you were at this first line over here? How much lower did you go? Over here, you went, $8 down, and then you bounced $10 back up. Okay, from there. The low over here of this move, you went $11 down, and then from that low, you bounced $17. Imagine if you could catch that, okay? Daily RSI down here, it's probably about to at least get that decent sized bounce, $10 plus bounce. That is what I'm interested in. And then, you take some profits. If you get, a beautiful clear as day opportunity like this one, now you're at the point where you can catch a face ripper, okay? Within 2 weeks. See that $40 move? Okay, that's what happens when things really reset over here. That's what I was saying. Reversion to the mean, guys. We want to see volatility spike as that happens. And then we have room for these big moves to happen on these, big boys. Okay, I like to call them the big boys, the Mag 7s, the mega caps, whatever you want to refer to them as. Okay, I know this is a chip stock, but this is still in the Mag 7. The big boys. These things are the major components of the indices we pay attention to so closely, SPY and QQQ. And, at the end of the day, these all work together. You see Nvidia down here, okay? Probably going to grind or it's not going much lower. And that is where you want to start buying in with time. That's how I see it. Or, shares, you want to start buying there. You want to start buying for the long term. Whatever it is, you see it get down here. It's probably very close to the bottom. Okay, you got to come all the way back here. Okay, even over here, you didn't stay. You could have, it was on this day right here where you're at that bottom line right there. It didn't go much lower before you started rocket shipping. Okay, very long time this pattern is held. You see it down here, you buy it down here. No financial advice on this channel. Avgo, okay, ideally you weren't going to come back down there, but you did come down there. Now we're going to have to see what happens. Okay, so you came back down after this move up to short-term moving averages. You had a big move up, got above the 0.786 fib. I'm just going to reference the weekly chart. The thing looks like it wants to break up. We'll see what happens. Earnings are on Thursday. But, ideally this thing bounces right there, holds 169.87, reclaims 173.37, maybe on a gap up tomorrow, and then you continue back up to the highs. Okay, if not, you're coming down to 165.80, and then you have that trend line to worry about. You come down here 160.41. Okay, that is when this thing can come all the way back down here again. And then we get another opportunity, and we will take it. TSM, not looking too hot. What do you have over here? 0.618 Fibonacci retracement starting at 188.70, around 187.66 support. That is what you were paying attention to on the downside. From there, resistance is going to be 193.47. So I could see something like this. And if you could reclaim that, then like that. And that is your move. ARM. How are you looking, guys? Still just consolidating right around here. CPI is going to be a big day, guys. That's all I can really say. Big day. INTC, breaking down underneath 20. What does that tell us, guys? We're probably going to be revisiting 1851. I don't care that this is oversold. Break that. Probably come down here. That is how that works. MU, guys, bunch of consolidation. I'm just going to say it's in a range. It's going to be frustrating if you try and play it in the range. I promise you, do not touch it. Okay, do not touch it. Wait for a daily close above 104.20, or wait for, but also you don't want to be short in these things. My opinion, okay? My opinion, you don't want to be short in these things, all right? You can make money however the way you see fit. But come down to the bottom of the range, 96.18. Expect buyers just like the last two occurrences. If you can get a daily close under there, then maybe you do start breaking down all the way to 90.97. We will see. But I've pointed out that this and AMD, these are the sloppy ones. AMD is back to troll status. You started breaking down. You did not bounce at major support 133.74. You started breaking down. Daily RSI is getting to oversold territory. Now we get to say we're probably going to put in a divergence. So if you start getting a bounce, expect it to be sold down to new low, put in a divergence. You got one over here. Started bouncing. Decent bounce too. Don't get faked out by it. This thing's a free control. Okay, remember, this thing is a free. Say it with me. This thing is a free control. AMD is a free control. You see how you got your bounce? Oh, what happens? Bullish divergence. You come down to a new low. You see how you got your bounce? Oh, what happens? Bullish divergence. You came down to a new low. Do we have the same pattern over here? Yes, you do. You get into oversold territory. You start getting a bounce here. You put in a little bullish divergence. You get a big bounce. Okay. 5%, guys. That's a decent amount right now. Okay. And then you fall down to new low and you put an even bigger bullish divergence. And then you finally go. This pattern has been here for a while now. I'm not going to say it's over here in 2022. But as you can see, you got the pattern going on over here, early 2023, mid 2023. You got the pattern over here, end of 2023. So we got 1. We have a 2. We have a 3. All right. We have a 4. And is this about to be the 5th? Probably. All I will say is I can't believe the thing did not hold the trend line. AMD's in trouble. Wait for your bullish divergence to form before doing anything, in my personal opinion. No financial advice. All right, so that is all I have for you guys today. I'm just going to point out MSTR is looking quite constructive over here. You're consolidating this pennant. You're right here on the 21 EMA on the daily time frame. You had that inside bar with the hammer candlestick print today. Not looking bad at all, in my personal opinion. Hourly RSI was almost an oversold territory. You found buyers right where you need to find buyers, and it's looking like this thing could pop, okay? Do I think Bitcoin looks good? No, but it is also right here on your 21. Doesn't look so bad. Riot, terrible. CLSK, terrible. Mara, terrible. Coin, terrible. MSTR, not so terrible. Okay, so I think it's notable. I do think it's notable. Not calling for upside. I'm not going to be trading it, but I will point it out. This thing doesn't look bad. It's looking like it might do some things right here, right now. And, if it can start bouncing back, ooh la la. You take out right here, 399.80, come up to 444.94. All right, guys, with that being said, we got Roblox, we got Upstart, we got KO, we have BA. That was SMCI. We have BA putting in the first higher high on the weekly time frame in quite some time. It's looking solid, okay? BA, this is the comeback story. You haven't had one. Let's look at it this way. I looked at this today. You haven't had a swing high get put in where you went down to new low. You haven't had one of those swing highs get taken out in a year. This whole move down, you haven't had a move where you move down. Let's look at it this way. Swing high before move down. Well, you didn't take this out. You had an equal high. What do you have right here, guys? You're clearly above it. Close the week out above it. Oh my God, this thing actually could be turning around. It really could be doing a thing. Okay? So that's what we're going to be paying attention to over here. I'm calling comeback story is probably happening right here as we speak on BA. Notice how the weekly 21, it keeps rejecting. Get your weekly close above it. Guys, this is on watch. Okay? You get above 171, 171.50 we'll call it. Like, yes, I think you're coming up here, but I also think you're going to revisit this high over here at 196.95. Comeback story of the year? Question mark? BA. I like it. You got SMCI, pulling back, reversion to the mean. You got Rivian. All right. I want to see a pullback over here. I got my alert for it. All right. But, if you caught this move with us, it's, a great idea to take your profits when you're coming up slamming into the target. But yeah, pull back. This thing looks kind of sexy. Okay. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. I hope everybody had a lovely day. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate you having, honestly, you guys just being here with me. Okay. I wanted to be, corny and thank you guys on Twitter today, but I didn't. I decided not to be a cornball. But you know, I really do appreciate having you guys here with me. Trading is relatively a learning journey. And you know, I know if you guys been, you know, in the trading space for a while, you guys know how that feels. Okay. Maybe you have trading friends, maybe you don't. Even if you do have trading friends, it's still going to be a lonely journey. We're all on our own, you know, separate paths. But it is nice knowing other people are along that path. Doesn't matter where you are on it. We all, you know, are doing the same thing at the end of the day. Not exactly the same thing because everyone's at different spots. Um, but you guys get what I'm saying. It is a lonely path. And I do appreciate having, you know, a community here. We're almost at 10,000, you know, people in this community. And that is crazy to me. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.